Okay, so a lot of people say that third generation K-pop is better than fourth generation K-pop, and I can agree that third generation had amazing music because for early third generation, that is, when third generation was starting towards its middle point, I actually preferred popular groups that debuted in the third generation, well-known Nugu groups that were there, and super underrated Nugu groups that didn't get much attention. But when it came to and also I preferred second generation groups that debuted in the second generation and made comebacks and songs in the third generation. And for later third generation, I preferred more Nugu groups from smaller companies who didn't get much attention or lesser known companies over popular groups. And I did love popular, well-known groups, but I preferred Nugu groups more from super underrated companies and stuff like that. And while I agree that third generation did have amazing music, this is not to say that fourth generation doesn't have good music. For the people who say third generation is better than fourth generation, or for the people who say that for the people who look at recent comebacks of K-pop and be like, there's hope for fourth generation K-pop to be good, blah blah blah, and for the people who prefer third generation's music over fourth generation, that is completely dumb. If you prefer third generation music over fourth generation music, I would accept that because you like third generation better than fourth generation. But the thing is, I cannot accept you saying third generation is better than fourth generation. You never checked fourth generation properly in its entirety since the start of it, and you only looked at the groups on the surface level that made it big enough for you to notice them, or they come from companies like the big three that are already popular, or they come from companies other than the big three plus hype, and then they made it big because of their music and stuff. So you looking at only the surface level of K-pop isn't actually looking at K-pop in its entirety. That's why I cannot accept you saying third generation is better than fourth generation. If you did some proper research on different Nugu groups that debuted in the fourth generation since from the start, since 2022 till 2022, I mean, you would probably find some amazing music, and maybe you'll stop saying fourth generation isn't as good as third generation and third generation is better, or there's hope for music in fourth generation. Every generation, every year of K-pop is good. You just have to search for good music. Y'all are not searching, y'all are looking at only the surface level of K-pop. Y'all are staying inside this box of popular groups, well-known Nugu groups, and groups that are, getting big enough for you to notice them, and you're not stepping outside the box and, checking out all these Nugu groups that are debuting and not getting much attention. I will only accept you for saying third generation is better than fourth generation if you do research on the fourth generation properly enough that you actually prefer third generation music even after doing research on different Nugu groups and stuff. If you do research on third generation properly, fourth generation properly, and then you compare both the generations, and if you check out enough releases from both these generations, and then you say third generation is still better than fourth generation, then I can accept you for who you are because of the fact that you've checked out both popular groups, well-known Nugu groups, and super underrated Nugu groups from third generation and fourth generation, and you checked out enough for you to know which generation is better. Then I can accept you. But you are only looking at the surface level of K-pop in the third generation, and you're only looking at the surface level of K-pop in the fourth generation. So that's why you say that third generation is better, because you are not expanding your searches, broadening your searches. You are not looking deep within the fourth generation. You are forgetting that smaller groups exist too, and only believing that K-pop in the fourth generation, or any generation for that matter, revolves around bigger budgeted, popular, well-known groups. That is, you should stop thinking like that, and you should start doing research on different groups and music so that you can find good music. Of course, you are going to say that third generation is better than fourth generation because of the fact that you are only looking at the surface level of K-pop. Of course, you're going to get disappointed in popular groups and well-known groups because they're going to hop on popular trends and stuff. A lot of smaller groups and Nugu companies and stuff don't do these popular trends a lot of the time. There are very few groups who do these popular trends, and there's so many amazing music. How can you? Fourth generation does have amazing music. You just have to look at groups besides and stuff. You have to look at Nugu groups and stuff like that. Do a proper analysis on the fourth generation before admittedly saying that third generation is better when it is not. And in my personal opinion, I like fourth generation and third generation music. I do prefer third generation a bit more than fourth generation, but I do have a lot of amazing bops in the fourth generation that I really love. So just do research on the fourth generation for K-pop groups, girl groups, boy groups, duo groups, soloists, etc., and even K-pop bands, and then come back and say that third generation is better, because your point is not valid since you're only looking at the surface level of K-pop, and that doesn't make your point valid. Do some actual research on the fourth generation first before saying third generation was better, and before saying that there's hope for K-pop in the fourth generation. There was never this hope shit, should never be said, because there's always been good music in the fourth generation. For me personally, in my opinion, you just have to search for the good music. Just looking at the surface level isn't K-pop. This phrase, there's hope for K-pop in the fourth generation, should be removed, because K-pop has always been good in the fourth generation. Just because you see a lot of noise or something like that doesn't mean that that is K-pop in the whole of the fourth generation. Do some research on music and then say that, third generation is better than fourth generation. If you have done proper analysis on third and fourth generation, and then you have come to a proper conclusion, then you can say that third generation is better. Now you can't say it. Now your point is invalid because you're only looking at popular groups, well-known Nugu groups, and that's it. You're not looking at below the surface level. You're not going outside this K-pop box. You're only, putting yourself in a K-pop box with groups that come into K-pop with a budget. You're only looking at groups with a budget. What about groups without a budget or have a smaller budget? A lot of them do release amazing music even though they have low budget. You just have to look at them. There's so many amazing groups that debut each year into K-pop, and a lot of them have good vocally edited songs for you to listen to. Just check them out. They're not bad. Stop, only believing that K-pop is bigger budgeted groups, that is well-known popular groups and well-known Nugu groups. Stop it. Go do some research.